shaking. I mean to tell you, it's that day, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. It's time. Whew! Black Friday. Black Friday episode. No, it's not the Black Friday episode. It's the Baylor preview episode, but it happens to be Black Friday. And, fellas, for the first time ever, we started on time. I mean, it's just like unbelievable. We said
live audience appreciates that.
You guys don't care, but it's kind of something for us. Little something. We said we're rolling 7:30, and I mean it was 7:29, 35, 36, 37. I said we're going to wait. I'm going to hit this open right at 7:30 and pretend it's old school radio. It makes Hoppy feel happier, like it's actually a radio show. He's still coming to grips with that. Welcome in. We're going to talk about the Mountaineers, the Bears. We're going to also talk about Mountaineers and Cavaliers. We're going to talk also about Mountaineers and Bellarmins. There'll be a little bit of that Sunday afternoon. 3 guys before the game, brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years, especially this time of year, man. Keep your stuff safe. Just everyone gets in a good mood holiday season. Little do you know, someone's trying to get in on your IT stuff. They got that covered. We'll tell you more later on. 3 guys brought to us by Go-Mart. Go for good times, go for Go-Mart, and go for their rewards cards. Sign up, get that rewards card. Once you have that, you can save money on food and fuel. And on Tuesdays and Saturdays until the end of this month, no, actually till the end of December 31st, you'll get triple rewards points. I said triple, not once, twice, but 3 times the rewards points on Tuesdays and Thursdays when you go to Go-Mart. 3 guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. I just got back from the basketball tournament in Florida and happened to see a ton of pontoons. I mean, a ton in Cape Coral Bay.
Probably all from Lou Wendell Marine.
Everyone that I could find. Plus, let me tell you about one that wasn't a pontoon that I saw that I went like, whoa. 3 guys also brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. They'll bring us spreads on stats. What are the keys for West Virginia to get a victory over the Baylor Bears? Conley CPA Group, providing you value beyond the numbers. All right, let's do this thing. Hope that you all did have a great Thanksgiving opportunity to get together with family and friends and enjoy the food, the fun, and now here we go. 1 month, basically, of overeating with regularity. I think pretty much for the next month, it's just kind of what happens. If you can keep your weight where it is as of today for the rest of the month through the New Year's, that's a heck of an accomplishment. Yeah. So anyway, about the boat real quick. So that where we were staying was right on the water, and so there were these docks that we're walking on. There was a ton of pontoon boats, but I went by one that looked kind of like
pontoon. Or another?
It wasn't a pontoon, but it was kind of in that family, like a cousin of a pontoon. And it was all black and dark looking, and it just looked like Bad Boy. And so I walked up to it and had the Homeland Security logo on it.
Really?
So it was something that they used to probably run people down. And I say run people down because it had 4 350 horsepower engines on the back of that bad boy. And you could tell, like, when that thing would go, it probably went like, it was one of these. It just...
So they weren't water skiing off the back of that?
They weren't pulling any tubes.
That's not what it was for?
No, it just looked a little bit like it had some armament on it. It was like, whoa, I guess we're here. We're in Florida.
Looking for smugglers.
Someone doing something. Yeah. Anyway, ain't no smuggling here, man. There is. We're smuggling some honey and some coffee. Boy, I tell you what.
Coffee. Yeah. Early morning recording.
Sure.
Got to have the coffee.
Things are going. Thanks everyone for taking part in episode 800 in the holiday Christmas category catalog. Hoppy's still waiting for his paper catalog to be sent to his home.
Keep checking the mailbox.
Things are going great. If you haven't done your shopping yet, we got a lot of good stuff at episode800.com. All right.
I talked to Rusty the other day about the coffee.
You mean Rusty?
Mountaineer Roasting.
Mountaineer Roasting. Yeah,
does our coffee.
Sure.
Flying off the shelves.
Well, here it is.
Flying off the shelves.
Really?
Yeah. He was having to do a whole nother batch and repackage and get shipped.
Yeah. Here's how you know it's good. I'll tell you why it's good. I've had 3 people drink it. Didn't tell them what it was. I just like, hey, you make coffee? Hey, you want coffee? Yeah, okay, we're going to make coffee. And you pour it out there. And they go like, unsolicited. They give me the old, this is really good. What's this? I go, oh, really? You like that, huh? And they go, yeah, really good. Plus my son, Matt, he's up. He's a coffee snob. You know that.
Oh, shock. Why wouldn't he be coming from you?
Hey, coffee snob. He says, this is really good stuff. Really good stuff. So, yeah, he knows.
So the store's open. You can get it at Mountaineer Roasting here in Morgantown or episode800.com.
So the world champion Mountaineers leave today. We record on Friday. And tomorrow night, they play the Baylor Bears. 11 a.m. would have been real nice. But anyway, they're not going to move it now. So we close the regular season. Hoppy Kercheval.
Yes, sir.
I asked this question last night on Sportsline to Coach Hunter and the Senator. I'll give you an ESPN thing. What if I told you on August 15th that West Virginia would go into its final regular season game searching for an 8th win, a 6th league win? What would you say?
You'd take that all day. I mean, you'd be, oh, wow, really? Geez, well, how's that? I mean, that would be beyond expectations, right? Yep. You know, Tony, this game, you ever see the movie Christmas Vacation?
Sure. Oh, it's a classic.
Classic. And they're all gathered around the dinner table and the turkey's overcooked. And Clark Griswold puts the knife in the turkey.
Oh, boy.
And the turkey just deflates.
Yeah.
Brad, all due respect to Baylor, they're the turkey, ready to deflate.
Oh, boy.
They've lost their last 4 games, 5 of the last 6. Blake Shelton, their starting quarterback, is out. And I just wonder how enthused the young men were to spend Thanksgiving week preparing for their natural rival, West Virginia, with the students gone. Just go finish the turkey, okay? You don't even have – West Virginia, and we've said – I don't think any game where we've said like that West Virginia – each game we've said West Virginia must play at a high level. You don't have to play at the highest level. You got to play well, okay? You got to play well and not make a bunch of mistakes, but just be solid and go down there, take care of business, let Baylor start their vacation, and come home with a win. That's where you are in this game.
Yeah.
Carve the turkey.
Why are you staring at him?
Well, because he's right. First of all, speaking of Christmas vacation, did you see athletic director Ren Baker had a tweet yesterday, put out a tweet. His mom was in town. They were having Thanksgiving. He had his sweatshirt was really good. Said, "You serious, Clark?" Side note. Big Christmas Vacation fan, Hoppy.
Yeah.
Movie. Hoppy's right. And
get that on tape.
Hoppy's right. And I'll say this. I've been wrong on the matchup each of the last 2 weeks. I thought they would both be close. Neither was close, one going in the opposite direction. I'm with you on this. It just makes me a little nervous when you start to talk like that.
Yes,
that it's over, they're done, they're it's weird college football, you're on the road. But yes, Baylor's really struggling. There's a lot of chaos around them. Is Dave Aranda coming back? Is he not? They've won 3 games. One of them's over Long Island University, their FCS opponent. They're going with a backup quarterback. You know, Blake Shapen had a pretty good year on a team that had struggled. Sawyer Robertson has struggled more. I'll get to him coming up in our stats segment. But you're 100% right. It's just, can West Virginia pick its performance up and move it down to Waco? And I think you're right. Even if it's not as good as it was last week, you should get the win, but weird things happen in college football. It makes me a little nervous when you're that definitive.
Yeah, and let me give an asterisk to that. Is that don't let them, because look, they're still athletes, they're still players. Don't be midway through the third quarter and have the Baylor players think, oh, you know what? What the heck? We're in this game. We may as well compete and try to win the thing.
Yeah,
you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think this, to further your case, if you want to go on that side of it, we've said all year, and we said it last week, this West Virginia team has been very good in moments where it needed to bounce back or where it needed to listen to the message that was being pushed by the coaching staff. And I think this is another one. I think you got a group of guys that wants to finish the regular season strong. They've had a good season that exceeded expectations. You can finish this off over a team that you should beat. By the way, the line is pushed out to double digits now with the Blake Shapen news. So yeah, go in and do what you do, even if it's not at an A+ level like it was last week, and you should walk out with a win.
If you lose this game,
don't start.
I'm just going to characterize it. If you lose the game, it's the worst loss of the year. Worse than Houston. Because Houston was kind of an aberration. It was weird. This is the end of the year. If you lose, it's the worst loss of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have Houston had its starting quarterback and Baylor does not. Yeah, you'd say that. You'd say that. The way I'm looking at the standings, the way things probably play out when it all is done late tomorrow is that West Virginia, with a win, would finish 5th. Texas will beat Texas Tech. They'll be 8-1. Oklahoma State, I think, will beat BYU at home.
Yeah.
They'll be 7-2. Oklahoma,
TCU,
they'll be 7-2. K-State will beat Iowa State, 7-2, and then West Virginia will be 6-3, and Iowa State will fall to 5-4. So that's what they're in all likelihood is going to be.
Unless you get chaos, which you haven't really had this year.
You hope it doesn't happen. Well, I mean, we wouldn't mind it if something happens to get you a better finish, but starting today when these games are played, there's going to be something that's going to make everyone give it the old double take.
People have been waiting all season.
Yeah, it really hasn't happened.
There has not been a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
Across college football, let alone in the Big 12.
But it happens. It's when you think it isn't going to happen is when it happens. That's when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone says, no, there's no upsets this year. There haven't been any upsets this year. No. And then we're going to, I'm just thinking, hoping, because I loved it when it gets stupid.
Oh, yeah.
You like it, don't you, when it gets crazy?
Yeah. I would be all for stupid this weekend, except in Waco.
Yes.
Like, just let that go according to script, handle your business. Baylor, all due respect, go on to basketball season, worry about next season, what you're going to do. West Virginia goes in, wins, runs for 330, and gets out of it.
I like that, yeah.
To your point, I was thinking earlier today that there are few sports that are more difficult to play when you're not mentally in it than football.
Yeah.
And to your point, Hoppy, that those kids at Baylor, they're going in. West Virginia's not a rival. They've had a bunch of losses. They don't have their quarterback. They're just this is not the game to play when you're not 100% ready to go. I think wrestling, you get exposed when you're not ready. Football, you could get hurt, and wrestling, you could get hurt. Like baseball, if you're not into it, no one's really getting hurt, right? Like the ball might go over the outfielder's head, and you might, I didn't get that one. This sport, if you're not ready, you can't do it.
And there may be, now I know this would of course be against the rules, whatever the rules are, but there may be instances where there are a couple pretty good players on the Baylor team where people associated with him might be getting inquiries and say, well, listen, young man, things aren't going well there. We're not sure who the head coach is going to be next year. I think they're going to run the option. So would you be interested in other opportunities here?
Oh, that's against the rules, Hoppy.
Oh, you can't
that
do
would
that?
be against the rules to contact the young men.
So that can't happen. That's not happening.
No, but everybody follows the rules, so nobody has been contacted, I am sure.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. None of that's going on. Or, hey, you need to stay healthy here. You can't afford an injury, so if you have to sit this one out because of hurt feelings, just let them know.
And what a story about Baylor. I mean, 2 years ago, they won the league,
won the Big 12, won a Sugar Bowl,
won the Sugar Bowl. Dave Aranda, Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Were 12-2 or 10, whatever they were, and now they're talking about fire. I'm not sure he's going to get fired. I don't know.
So,
but with a payout of like $15 to $20 million by rough estimates, or private school, you don't get those numbers. But with that kind of payout, I'm not sure, Brad, if he's going to get fired. But there's talk about it.
Well, we see it all the time in this sport. I mean, TCU is going through the same thing, right? They thought everything was great. When played for a national championship, they're not going to go to a bowl. They went from a national championship experience to not a bowl.
So, specifically to the Baylor situation, Hoppy, it's a bigger story. It's not Dave Aranda when it comes to X's and O's. What he's being criticized for is his difficulty in embracing NIL.
His slowness.
Well, is it? Yeah, because he's a different dude.
Yeah,
he is a different dude. He truly believes in fairness and building a team, and everyone is treated well and everyone's treated the same. And he's come out and said, I have a real difficulty of making everything transactional to say that he, Brad, is worth X and Hoppy is worth Y. He struggles with that.
Right.
And I understand it from that standpoint, right? That's Don Nealon-esque. But unfortunately, the train has left the station, and the Baylor fans are screaming and waving their hands going like, hey, that's all great, but we're getting passed over by all of these players, and we don't have the same players that they do or that we used to when Arthur Briles was the head coach there. So that is the issue. It's as philosophical as it is strategic. They love the guy, but it's him saying, I don't feel comfortable doing this like this.
Yeah, they've had flat fees for their football players. Everybody makes the same. He's since come out and said, okay, fine. Yeah. Fine. I'm open with you get what you get. Market bears it.
And I think his philosophy is admirable. Okay. I get it. I mean, I think that in a perfect world you could appreciate that, but wouldn't it be pretty to think so? I mean, that's just not the world that you're in now.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on there. And I think Baylor got a little money.
You think?
Baylor got a little money. All those Texas, there's no Texas school that's poor, right? There's
Texas State?
No, I mean, I'm talking the Power Fives. There's no Texas school that's running around going like, hey, how are we going to make ends meet? There isn't.
Houston.
Well, Power Fives. Yeah, Power Fives. And no one, because there, it's kind of funny if you get down in that world. I mean, it's the alums against the alums. Oh, is that right? Oh, A&M's going to pay this guy this much? Oh, yeah? Okay. And here comes the other dude. Oh, right, fine. We saw the whole SMU thing when they went on probation or got the death penalty was exactly that. We're not going to let these guys outbid us.
I mean this with all due respect.
No, you don't.
I do.
Stop.
I do. Let's move on. Stop talking about Baylor. They can go fix their own things.
What are you saying?
Well, they'll go fix your own problems. No one sat here and worried about West Virginia's problems last year when everybody was piling on, picking them last, ha-ha, laughing, giggling, ha-ha. So, Baylor, I'm sorry. I hope West Virginia goes down, runs it right up your throat, down your throat, and it's a ball game, and you move on, and you guys can figure out what you're going to do in the offseason.
Well, I wasn't feeling sorry. I was just letting people know what the story was.
Nobody feels sorry for you in this league when you're down, Hoppy.
I know. And
across college sports, if you're down, you got to fix yourself. No one's helping you.
Understood. Agree with you completely. In fact, I was thinking about that when I was thinking about what to say about this game. I took your philosophy into consideration. I just think that Tony and I were trying to give some depth to what the Baylor situation is.
Kind of what you do on that talk line. You provide fair and balanced
Mondays and Wednesdays. Yeah.
Fair and balanced coverage. Yeah, absolutely. 3 guys before the game.
Bad ones get to stats, so that's the thing.
Well, I want to talk about West Virginia. Baylor can fix itself in the offseason.
Yeah, well, hope they don't. Anyway, 3 guys before the game. Tell you what, that Baylor basketball, they figured out that NIL.
Yeah.
3 guys before the game is brought to us by Comax Business Systems. Think about this. If you're a business owner and you have that headache all the time of, okay, are we safe with our data? Is our network safe? Are we good? Are we operating with great efficiency? Well, Comax can help you out. Number one, they can come in, do a complete audit, let you know where you stand, where you could need help. They can also help you with remote monitoring and checking your stuff out to keep everything operating smoothly. You don't want to have that one day that comes and they say, system's down, network's down, everything's down. You run around and go like, whoop, whoop, whoop. I've seen that happen to Hoppy. It's not a good time. They also provide digital phone services from 1 line to 1,000 phone lines. They'll give you a free quote if you're in town, if it's time. If it's in time. If this were live, or if this were a recorded show, I'd go back and edit that out.
No, it's live, so you can.
3, 2, 1. If you need a phone system from 1 line to 1,000 lines, Comax Business Systems is there. They'll come in, free price quote. Check them out, ComaxWV.com. Senator Hoppy, he must have some pretty impressive numbers because he has, I kind of think, do you get in the feel that he's kind of indicating to us that he wants to get into the numbers?
He is, and that's good because his numbers are epic.
Ooh, give him epic numbers. All right. So, boy, this is going to be problematic. Here we go. You have to just go with that.
It's a Black Friday. We're just going quick stingers. You got to get in. You got to get out. Wait, all the chaos in the store. Get in. Get your TV for $2 and get out.
How about if I play this 3-second sting 13 times? It'll make up for the regular one.
On our game, out here fumbling snaps to start the day.
Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley. We had a technical issue. Well, it wasn't a technical issue.
How much was that TV?
$2. But they only have 1, and you've got to beat off 9 people to get it.
I started last night going, okay, anyway, 3 guys before the game. Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They're fantastic people providing value beyond the numbers. What do? They pride themselves in more than just numbers. Whether that's preparing a tax return or whatever. Their practice areas include auditing, assurance, tax planning and preparation, consulting your business, helping you out how to be most efficient, saving your dollars so that other people, i.e., the feds, don't get your dollars. They'll pay your fair share, but don't give them more.
Yeah, no more.
They also offer this, outsourcing your accounting and your CFO services. It is the Conley CPA Group. Think about that. If you want to have their folks handle your CFO services, you can check them out. By the way, so Austin's our producer. So Austin, that picture I have with Joe Reese, can you fire that one up? So this is an indication of how advertising works. So I was there having a lunch.
Where
are you?
I'm in Florida at the restaurant at the hotel, at the motel, and this gentleman comes up to me, introduced himself, Big Three Guys listener. Says, that right, Joe? What's your name? Says Joe Reese. Said, Joe, good to see you. So what's your deal? What'd you do? So he's worked like 72 different states all over the world. Attorney.
Okay.
Then went back and got with an accounting thing. He's a tax attorney.
Oh.
He starts riffing off all the things that Conley CPA Group does. He goes, they provide remotes. They provide remote CFO services. I said, yeah, right there, buddy. Advertising and podcast stays in your brain. So Joe's a great guy.
Hey, Joe.
He attended both the games and had a good time. So thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
He knows Conley CPA Group. All right, let's do this thing. What are the numbers? You need the sting again to get you set up?
No, I think I'm okay. We can dive in. This is one. So here's the deal. Here's the matchup, Hoppy. You ready?
Yes.
As you so eloquently laid out, well, just go and do what you do. Baylor's defense has really struggled to stop the run. There's only 4 Power 5 teams that have given up more rushing yards per game than Baylor has. So you may not get the 424 you got last week, but line up and handle them on the ground. Do what you do there. Analysis over. Go ahead and hit the stinger. We can go on to the texts. That's all I got.
That's it?
You're just
That's
saying
it? Just go run
the pumpkin? You're just saying run the pumpkin.
Now, they did hold TCU in check. TCU only ran for 100 yards last week.
What? How many did they throw for?
Oh, 471. So, we'll see. Run the ball, though. Just do what you do.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, here we go. Let's dive into some weeds. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really the analysis, though. I'm being glib, but just go run the football like you've run it, and you should have success here.
The point being, Brad, is that this is your strength. You should be able to execute your strength
against a team whose biggest weakness is stopping your strength.
Yeah.
So you do have a good matchup. But let's get to just some. So this is kind of a hodgepodge of some different things that have come up or stats that I found interesting. First of all, Garrett Green. Let's talk some more about him. How important has his running ability been to this offense?
Very.
So there's a number that I've referred to a bunch. Thank you.
I think that was rhetorical.
Very. I was okay. Chime in as we go. That's very good. EPA. I've used that before. So that's
Environmental Protection Agency.
No, expected points added. So it's defined as the total change in the offense's expected points that come on run plays.
Wait. Okay, go back. Do a replay.
The total change in the offense's expected points that come on run plays. So as you have successful run plays, the points you're expected to score increase on successful plays. So it's basically a way to measure success or non-success in a run or a pass.
Not a particular run, just the ability to run?
No, every run. Every running play changes your EPA either positively or negatively.
Okay.
If Garrett Green, you guys really struggle with these advanced stats. If somebody takes off and runs,
we didn't do the good. We didn't do the real good in the math.
I mean,
didn't do the real good.
Lord, you run for 32 yards on a play.
Okay.
You are expected to score more points coming up than you did previously.
Prior to the run.
Expected points added. So it's a measure that defines your success. We're going to talk about rushing EPA right now.
I understand that.
Garrett's total rushing EPA on the season is 27 points. So his rushing ability has added 27 expected points to your total. Okay? Here's where that's important. The next best quarterback EPA in the Big 12 when rushing the ball, John Rice Plumlee with 3.92 points.
Oh my gosh.
Garrett is almost 9 times better rushing the football than anybody else in this league, quarterback-wise.
Wow.
Is that important?
In terms of the impact of his run.
In terms of his impact of his runs on your offense scoring points, which is the whole point of the Hop. The point of the offense is to score more points than the other team.
Understood.
So how about that? Almost nine times more than the next quarterback in this league.
That puts his importance in context.
That's wild. Yeah, so the 27 points doesn't really. It's the fact that he's 27 and number 2 is Plumlee at 3.92. That's pretty good. All right, speaking of running the football, Jaheim White is currently Pro Football Focus's highest graded freshman in the country.
Ooh, nice.
Paging Country Roads Trust. Paging Country Roads Trust.
Well, we do a fun drive during our broadcast.
All kidding aside, and as simple as this sounds, so when other schools, right, they start to put their list together of who they want to go get, what do? Okay, who's like some young, upcoming talent? They enter in the data and it's going to go like, guess who? There he is.
So you think a dynamic running back that's the highest graded freshman in the country has received some phone calls already?
Well,
text messages.
You can't do that.
It may not be on his phone, but all the folks that have touched to him around York, Pennsylvania, and things like that. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's a wow. Give that
Jaheim White, highest graded freshman in the country from Pro Football Focus, 91.9 grade. 10 games into the season. I can see why he led the Brown Mention Index now.
Yeah.
We did tab him as a Heisman frontrunner.
You know what? In all seriousness, we should
not be far off.
We should go back and find. Seriously, we should go back and find out when the first time you said that was, so we could we'll do a big post.
We said Heisman frontrunner.
Called it early. Called it early.
That does beg the question, though. How does West Virginia compete NIL wise when you do have a player like that with schools that have, I don't know, 5 times the NIL resources as West Virginia? What's West Virginia got? 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 2.5 million? I mean, so how do you compete? But how do you compete if Georgia's, nice to have Jaheim White, even if he doesn't start. I'd like to have the young man down here.
Well, because that's where, so the money's a driving force there, and then it's got to come down to the other things you've got to stay. You've got to look at, all right, who's the offensive line coming back? I like playing behind those guys. I like my coaching staff. Then that other stuff starts to play into that. It's not going to come down to just straight money. But you better pay him. But you better find him some money.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question. You got to figure it out.
All right. Jaheim White, highest graded freshman in the country. Matchup. You want a matchup? Specific matchup?
Yes.
Let's say you have to throw the ball a little bit.
Okay.
TCU did. Let's say you have to throw it a little bit. Cole Taylor versus Baylor's defense that has struggled to contain tight ends. Baylor's defense has. Baylor has given up the most yards in the Big 12 to opposing players lined up at tight end and the third most touchdown passes to tight ends. Opposing cornerbacks also have thrown 0 interceptions when trying to throw to the tight end against Baylor's defense. Baylor's defense has the worst total EPA in the Big 12 on passes thrown to tight ends.
Can't stop the tight end.
Should have a big day. Jared Wiley ate him up last week in a 42-17 TCU win. Had 7 catches, 178 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, and I think he was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week for that performance.
Let me ask you this. Do you, off the top of your head, what did you have as your preseason prediction on Cole Taylor? Like going into this game, does he have to hit some certain milestones to get your mark?
It's interesting. Thank you for asking. We did not discuss this, but my next thing on here says, speaking of Cole Taylor, in our over-under preview episode before the season began, we had a question about Cole Taylor.
Right.
You ready? Mm-hmm. And it was this. Will Cole Taylor double the average number of receptions for a tight end over the last 4 years? So we took the average number of receptions over a 4-year period and said, will he double that number? The over-under number on Cole Taylor receptions for the season, I set at 31.5 catches. Cole Taylor's heading into the Baylor game at 29 catches right now. 29. You got a sweat going. You got a sweat going if you were on that number.
We should have. If we were properly marketing this show, it would have been like a promotion. Like everyone gets free French fries if Cole Taylor catches 32 balls.
How about that? So the number was 31.5.
Can he get 3?
That speaks to how valuable he has been to this team, that he's going to, in essence, double the average number of receptions for a tight end over the last 4 years. I'll go further. He's had 49 targets on the year. 49 targets, 29 catches. He has 4 receiving touchdowns. In the last 10 seasons, West Virginia has combined to have 8 tight end touchdown catches.
He's got 4.
And he's got 4. this year. The most during the season during that time was 2.
Wow.
So there's a look back. We'll go back in next week or so and look at our few over-unders we did. But that was one that I found interesting that's still in play. He gets 3 catches. He goes over that number.
You know, and I had this thought with Eric Stevenson, the basketballer, last season. Some of these guys, you just go like, geez, really wish you could have come here as a freshman. But, Cole Taylor was like, he was a big boy recruit, massive big recruit. But anyway. By the way, Coach Stevenson doing well, for those of you that are wondering, playing G League down in Austin, Texas. And our friend of the program, Joe Mock, who always brings me the cookies and the donuts when we go down to Texas that I always bring back to the studio, he had Thanksgiving dinner with the Mock family. Coach Stevenson, they sent me a picture. They made their picture yesterday and sent that to me.
That was nice.
Eric in the house there.
Good to see him.
Matter of fact, I'm going to send this I'll send it to Austin. We'll let everyone see the picture.
Like to see him.
Sure.
Hopefully get some time at the big show this year.
That'd be nice.
Okay, let's go to the defensive side for our one key. Hoppy, we might as well finish out the season talking about pressure, right, and getting teams into passing downs. And we'll take a look at that after the game. But if West Virginia gets its opponent in passing downs at least 30% of the time, they win. 6-0 on the season when they have been able to do that. So the reason that happens, when you know they're going to pass, what can you do?
You can bring pressure.
You can come at them. That helps the defensive backs. It all works together. Sawyer Robertson is going to be in at quarterback for Baylor, and he has struggled under pressure this season. Just a 43.7 grade from Pro Football Focus when under pressure, 0 big-time throws, and 2 turnover-worthy plays. So get some pressure on Robertson, you should have success. And you remember last week was the same with Emory Jones. And again, most quarterbacks struggle under pressure, but Jones had really struggled. West Virginia did a nice job of limiting that run game, making them have to throw, jumping out ahead. Cincinnati was done.
I think Robertson, correct me if I'm wrong, with the time he's played this year, I think 1 touchdown, 4 picks. Does that sound right?
Yep, we'll get into that coming up here in just a second. So his best grade in the passing game comes when he throws deep. On throws of 20 yards or more, he has a 74 grade. 5 big-time throws versus 0 turnover-worthy plays. By the way, Hoppy, if you're wondering, he most often and most effectively goes to the left side when he's throwing deep. So watch the left side downfield when Robertson looks to go deep. But there's some opportunity there, right? If your best thing that you do is throw the ball deep, what's that mean you have to have happen to complete a deep ball?
Pass protection.
Time.
Pass pro and time. Those are the 2 things right there. So if Baylor thinks it can get by West Virginia's defensive backs, and given what you've seen from Robertson and some of their speed at receiver, I think you try that, right? You got to try and hit some big plays. You're probably not going to sustain drives down the field, so look for them to hit the ball deep. But if they do that, you got to get in there and get some pressure on him. And Hoppy, you just mentioned the next stat here. 1 touchdown pass, 4 interceptions on the year. So I think if you get some pressure, there should be an interception or 2 coming from Robertson. Here's the other part. At the very least, if you're West Virginia, drop those safeties back and say, no, you're not going to throw it over the top on us. We think we can handle your run. Why don't you try and check down and keep the ball in front of you? Robertson has struggled on passes from 0 to 9 yards. Just a 32 grade from Pro Football Focus, 2 interceptions, 4 turnover-worthy plays in that range, 0 to 9 yards. So just don't get beat deep. You should be in good shape.
You brought it today.
Excellent.
I'm not done.
Huh?
I'm not
You
done.
have,
But wait, he hasn't put his glasses on yet.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, last thing on the Baylor offensive line and Robertson. It's been through the right guard where most of the pressure has come. It's a top 10 rate in terms of pressure responsibility for the right guard. So come from that side. But Robertson's also been responsible for his own pressures at a top 10 rate in the league as well. He's 6th among quarterbacks that have played at least 5 games. So should be able to get some pressure. Generally, when West Virginia gets pressure on the quarterback, it's turned out well for them.
Very good.
I think as the season has matured and your statistics have matured, I think this is your most comprehensive analysis. Wouldn't you say so, Hoppy?
I would say so. Calling you Sean Martin, calling you Lee Koba.
Yeah.
Calling guys.
Jared Bartlett,
maybe get in there.
Yeah.
Off the corner.
Come get a little pressure, and then maybe finish with maybe a Beanie Bishop INT.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little high step into the end zone.
There you go.
Yeah, I can't do that as much. You can mini high step. You can't go straight high step. They'll throw the flag and take the touchdown away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good work.
All right, so there's football breakdown.
Good.
So what are you feeling?
Stats.
What are you feeling?
You should be okay. Do what you do. Just don't go in and be weird and have a weird turnover game and not be. You got to be engaged. Go in, be ready to play. And those 2 things. I mean, the 2 biggest things for West Virginia. I'm not plowing new ground here. If you can run the football, you've had success. If you get pressure on the quarterback, you've had success. The numbers tell you both of those things should happen in this game.
You know what happens, Brad, sometimes when you throw the ball deep? Get a pass interference. That's a good play for the offense. Throw the ball deep. Maybe the guy catches it. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Beanie picks it off. Maybe they throw the flag. Depends on the crew.
Now, listen, if you go back and review this series, there's never been any pass interference calls in a Baylor, West Virginia game. Was it 6?
6.
Kevin White?
It had to be more than 6.
6 or 7. I thought it was 6 or 7. He drew.
It felt like 16.
That was unbelievable.
You talk about a team that couldn't guard somebody and just kept fouling.
Most penalized game in Big 12 history, if I remember, at that time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right.
That was the game. I tell that story all the time. That was the game that Dana told the team that
One
week.
of his really good – tell this story again because I thought it was one of his best coaching jobs.
So Dana and Art Briles coached with each other when they were at Houston. They were both assistants. And I don't know, this is my characterization. They were frenemies.
Okay.
Right? So frenemies. Friends, enemies, just like they like to tweak each other. So when Dana beat him here, the first game ever in the Big 12, you remember Art Briles took great umbrage to that. So the next year, they about blew their scoreboard up, and they ran us off the field at our only game at Floyd Casey Stadium. So like a couple years go by, and Baylor comes in here, and they were top 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Number 4, I believe.
They were number 4, and they were coming in, they were strutting. West Virginia was okay, but they weren't, they were just there. So Dana knew what was going to be, because at that time, Baylor was in its absolute excess mode. They were like Miami was when they had to put rules to change the game because of the way Miami was acting. Mm-hmm. And they were late hitting, and they were doing everything. So Dana told his team during the week of practice, he said, here's the deal. He goes, this is how these guys play. They're going to punch you. They're going to hit you late. They're going to do everything. He said, you can do whatever you want.
Because he said, they're not going to come in here and bully us.
Right, they're not going to bully. They're not going to bully us on our field. You can do everything except no punching. Don't punch someone, because then you're going to get kicked out. Yeah. Other than that, you can do it. And that turned out to be just absolute mayhem. Every play was, and it stunned Baylor. They had no expectation that West Virginia was they thought West Virginia would back down, and West Virginia just kept hammering them and hammering them and hammering. Kevin White, they couldn't stop them, kept drawing PIs, and West Virginia won the game. Yeah. You could do everything except punch. It's always one of the all-time greats.
Just instructed young men to play through the whistle.
You're not going to bully us on our field.
I told him, I was doing the pregame interview Friday with him, and he told me, he goes, this is what I told him. And I went must be interesting to see how this works.
I like that.
Next day they went out, and they did it. All right, let's show that picture. I just want to make sure everyone knows Eric Stevenson. There's Coach Stevenson, Joe Mock and his lovely wife. The Mocks brought him over for Thanksgiving dinner.
That's very nice.
And Coach Stevenson, obviously, he had plenty of food there for him. And so Joe's kind of taking him under his wing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. Coach Stevenson's alive and well.
Good to see him. Okay, before we move on from stats, you want to do a little basketball real quick? That comes up Sunday. We won't have an episode before the basketball.
Yeah, this is also our Bellarmine preview.
You want to set up Bellarmine first with their weird style, what they do?
They pass it around the perimeter. They look for three-point shots. They run an old school just motion that's difficult to defend if you're not used to defending it.
They try and not dribble, right? They limit the number of dribbles they have.
Unnecessary.
Try and just pass the basketball. It's really interesting style.
Classic.
Okay, here's some. I'm just going straight into the weeds on a lot of this.
Team there.
Here's your scouting report, Hoppy. You ready as you watch on Sunday? Yes. Keep an eye on the corner threes. West Virginia's defense is going to have to get out and prevent the corner three. Bellarmine 7 of 9 from those spots on the season. 7 of 9 from corner threes, so keep an eye on it. But you also have to watch the threes from the top of the key. 47% from 3 at the top of the key, so they like to shoot threes, obviously. How about this for offensive balance? They have the exact number of threes attempted from 3 different spots on the floor.
Wow.
Left wing, center top of the key, right. I've not seen that. I've looked at a lot of team scouting reports online. I have not seen that exact same number of threes.
Hoppy, that's a statistical anomaly. When you say
really bizarre.
That is. So if you're preparing your defense, you go, well, they shoot from here, but they also hit from here.
That's what you're doing.
Now is that causation or correlation?
That's troubling, is what it is.
So you got to defend them. You got to defend them all the way around the 3-point line is basically what that tells you. They've got out in transition against some of their mid-major opponents, but they didn't do it much against Kansas State. So West Virginia will have to get back and stop those. In their wins, and this would be a result of the really good passing and they're not standing out there dribbling it and pounding it. When they've won, they've hit a bunch of unguarded jump shots. Remember that stat from last year? I'll start bringing you that. What you shoot when you're guarded, what you shoot when you're unguarded. They get a bunch of unguarded shots and generally hit them when they get those. So be alive for that.
Who's the coach? Gene Hackman from Hoosiers?
Yeah, it is.
They get a ton of layups, which wouldn't surprise you. Threes and layups, right? And that passing, they'll backdoor you a little bit. This will be interesting to watch them against West Virginia, though, because the layups probably don't come as easy with Jesse Edwards standing back there waiting on you. So that could disrupt them a little bit. They haven't created a lot of turnovers defensively. In fact, they're 304th nationally. So going against a West Virginia team that if you highlight one thing that's really caused West Virginia problems this year, it's been the turnovers. You shouldn't have a ton of them against Bellarmine, just 304th in that area. They do have a 6'10 center, but he splits time with a 6'6 center.
Ooh.
So Jesse Edwards, feed the post. Now, Tony, you might ask, if they go 6, will they go zone? That's a small lineup there.
Yeah.
They only have on one possession all year.
One possession is
They've been a man team. Yep. They're one of the worst defensive teams at the rim. A lot of that's probably due to that size. Opponents are in the 97th percentile in field goal percentage at the rim. So Jesse Edwards could be a big factor. Should be able to eat on the offensive end and should cause problems on the defensive end when they come in and try and shoot layups. So defend the 3, and you should be in good shape here.
But also, somebody else has to hit shots because Jesse Edwards, whenever he gets the ball, 6 to 8 players descend on him.
Yeah, because usually there's a couple that come off the bench. In addition to the other guys that have collapsed. Yeah.
Boy.
Yep.
And we talked about it on Sportsline, but we didn't talk about the Virginia game here. We're going to get into some basketball in the textual healing, so I guess we could just
do it then.
Translate into that.
Well, there's your quick scouting report on Bellarmine.
Excuse me?
8:30, 8:45. I got to go.
Why?
I got a show to do.
You do?
What are you doing?
Public affairs broadcast.
I thought you didn't do them on holidays.
Well, no, we're here.
You mean you prepare for that? I've heard it.
He did pretty well. Let it be noted, 8/12/24, he started to get nervous about the show.
Let me tell you something over there, lip balm boy. You dab on a little bit more. You can be released. I mean, if you need to go at some point, you just whatever makes you feel comfortable. I'll just walk out? Well, yeah, I'm going to be the first.
Well documented.
Yeah, but usually that was only when I had to go to the bathroom. This would
you hired a soccer coach one time when you walked out.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. One of your
great
walk-ups.
They're still rolling. Big one coming up this weekend.
The matchup. There's a text in about that. Got Vermont coming in here.
Women's team is rolling.
They're playing in an hour and 45 minutes. They have a 10 a.m. starter in Puerto Rico this morning.
Women's basketball.
Yeah, women's. They beat GW yesterday, and they play today. Then they play again tomorrow.
Soccer. They could get Marshall again in the semifinals, maybe in Louisville, maybe.
In Louisville.
Yeah, I think it's in Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay, I was there. I'm done with stats.
Good stats.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good prep. Brad, you're on it.
Yeah, I thought that was your best work.
Yeah, very good work. Didn't even put his glasses on.
Special thanks to the Conley CPA Group for sponsoring.
I can see better early in the morning.
Spreads on Stats. They do provide value beyond the numbers. It is that time of the year. Yeah, it is. I know you're saying, well, it's holiday time. Yeah, but before you know it, them W-2s, 1099s, they're going to be coming your way. If you're a business owner and you're not happy with what's going on and as far as getting your taxes ready and prepared, check out the Conley CPA Group. And once again, they do provide outsourced accounting and CFO services. They'll come in and take care of that remotely so you can get that stress done. Conley CPA Group wishes everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Obviously pontoon season is
that's over.
Probably not here, but you can take that boat. As I said, I saw a lot of pontoons down there. Don't forget.
Plus, it's good shopping for pontoon time. This is when you shop for them.
This is exactly right. Tis the season. I said, and let's take a look at the current special at Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They've got that Tri-Toon Avalon 2385 Entertainer. It is the top of the line, and you can do whatever it is that your heart desires on that beautiful craft.
Sound system in that?
Sound system.
Lighting?
Sound system, like Flo Rida saw it once and said, I need that sound system in my house.
Didn't see Flo Rida coming on today's show.
Hey, tell them we need a picture of somebody in there shopping for, like sitting in there. And
I'll get a picture made. Sure, we can do that. Honda 150 motor and trailer, 3 guys before the game special, $89,774. Tell me you're 3 guys listener. You can step right up on those red steps. Boop, boop, boop. And put yourself onto that.
Boy.
It's also that awning there in the back, I assume, comes up there to provide you shade on those really hot days. So you could have shade or sun, Hoppy. You can go in and out, depending on what you want.
Exactly.
Gets a little hot, just go back under the shade.
Perfect.
Nice little awning.
Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com.
I think they've got the table there in the back, too, right?
Oh, yeah, you can do
table
that.
You can sit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we take the table out of ours.
Reason?
And just to add more leg room. People banging around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just more space to move around.
Yeah, you got that. You got
a bunch of little ones running around.
You got to put the inner tube back there.
Well, sometimes spatial awareness not great with our group. Don't need them banging into the table.
Well,
so it's nice. You can take it in, take it out.
Sure. There might be a wake. Somebody's fall into.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wake alert. No wake zone.
It is time for Textual Healing.
Wake alert.
Textual Healing is sponsored by Episode800.com. Episode800.com. Just last week, we opened up our Christmas shopping portion of the store.
Where's the catalog?
Unbelievable response. And we also sent out a social media post on the Mountaineer Munch popcorn being
good.
made. Oh, did it look good? It looked real nice. Real nice. That's available too. Again, the date to keep in mind, make these orders for the bourbon barrel, the popcorn, and all that stuff that you want before December 10, just to make sure. They make this stuff fresh. I mean, it's not like, it's not been sitting in some warehouse. I mean, it's like made fresh. Shepherdstown for the popcorn, coffee gets roasted here in Morgantown, beer over there on Brockway.
Yeah, it's local. It's not coming from China.
Well, you can't buy the beer, by the way, on the website.
What's that? You can't.
You can't buy the beer on the website.
You can't?
No.
Reason?
Well, you can't buy beer on the website, Hoppy. I mean,
have a 12-year-old somewhere ordering.
Exactly.
Gotta avoid that.
Got
not what we want to do.
Got a little kid running around in Doddridge County going sideways. What happened? I went to the Episode800.com, got me a couple cases of Kercheval.
Can get you an Efforting t-shirt, though, if you'd like.
Efforting, absolutely. Texter, hey guys, Ted in Warrenton, Virginia, the real train guy, not merely an Amtrak passenger. Wishing you a happy Thanksgiving.
Holidays. We're just coming out firing shots.
I know. I mean, what's all with that guy up in PA there? He likes to ride the Amtrak. Ted, you're the guy that stops train travel in the United States when I've called for an exclusive, a special train system throughout the United States. Ted's the guy that pooped on that many, many episodes ago. Anyway, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. If we beat Baylor and if we are able to keep key pieces in 24, now knowing the full schedule, including the rare 7 home game slate, what's the early line on win total?
Don't know.
Got to see who's around.
No, yeah, keep the key pieces in 2024 isn't something you can just throw away there. That's gonna be pretty important.
Apparently, on the last episode, we made mention to something better than a pony. So this texter sent this picture along. He said, "Well, here it is, better than a pony. That is a yard-long Reese cup.
Oh,
a yard.
Well, there's multiple Reese cups in there.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but it's a yard. But if you pick up the package, it's 3 feet long. It's 3 feet of Reese cups.
That's pretty good.
Go to Go-Mart, by the way.
I've not seen that.
Reese's, they got Go-Mart, Reese, any Reese product sold, it's at Go-Mart. Get your rewards card at Go-Mart. Save your money on your fuel, on your food. Go to Go-Mart and triple rewards points at the Go-Marts across the state and beyond on Tuesdays and Saturdays up until December 31st. That's a 3-foot Reese cup strip there, Hoppy.
I like it.
For $19.99.
Hey guys, love the show. Long-time listener, first-time texter with the basketball team in desperate need of depth. Will a cook return? Will they take on walk-ons, football players, transfers, anything? I don't know how they can expect to compete or survive the Big 12 with 8 players. Help wanted WVU basketball. A cook's health situation is still in discussion. Potentially, they will make some. Potentially, they could bring someone in as a recruit in mid-season and have them eligible second semester. Football players, transfers, football players coming over to help. I think potentially discussions could happen, but there's nothing definitive on that.
You don't have to wait till semester to be eligible, do you? There's other schools in the league that have brought guys in December and they've played like a week later. They were in high school, then played in college in the same month, right? Do you have to wait till the new semester?
No.
Huh?
Show up.
You do. Texter.
You sure? Pretty sure that team won a title.
Professor Vinny, they had
rules. It was removed.
They had to
different
remove.
rules.
They had to remove it.
Yeah, they had to remove
which
that.
Prompted your banner effort.
Still
Hashtag HTB.
Hey, by the way, banner efforting.
Efforting.
Professor Vinny here after listening.
That shirt's on episode800.com too, I believe.
What?
Hashtag HTB.
Hang the banner. Professor Vinny here after listening to the Bearcats bounced. I wanted to let you guys know I'm currently efforting on winning the Mega Millions and Powerball so I can become that billionaire for the Country Roads Trust. However, I haven't told my wife yet about my plans for the money. Aside from the Christmas music thing, we're good, so it should be fine. On a different note, curious how you guys like your Thanksgiving turkeys. Brine, fried, baked, spatchcocked. I have deep fried before and it's superior. When's Three Guys coming out with a dry rub? Happy Thanksgiving. I eat it any way they cook it. Hey, Austin, here's this one. So, Star City Post Office. You remember how I told you guys they were like unbelievable listeners?
Yeah. Great customer service there too, right?
I went in there to drop off some postage, and they said, here, psst, come here, open the door. They let me in the back.
Oh.
So that's the back of the post office there in Star City. Those guys are terrific.
You in the back?
Well, just popped
That's not a federal offense?
No, I just like popped my head in, took the picture, and got out of there. But there's you can see.
Big fans.
Like the Steelers and the Mountaineers. And so the guys, shout out to the Star City post office guys.
What's the text thing? What's the rest of that?
That was like Texas Folds. That was one of those things. Remember the Dominion Post used to put those things in your newspaper? Yeah, it was one of those things. Thank you. Texter. Hello.
Big fans of the Star City Post Office.
Well, High Street are great guys,
They're very good, too. Yes.
How about Delslow?
But Star City likes to pump its chest out and say, hey, we know the High Street guys like the Mountaineers, but we love the Mountaineers.
Oh.
Texter, hello. Thought I'd assist with the pontoon hunting question. Remember last show I said, why can't you get on a pontoon and go hunting?
Oh, yeah.
From the DNR in West Virginia regulations, you may hunt from a motorized watercraft if the motor has been completely shut off and progress from the motor has ceased. So buy the pontoon, take it to Cheat, Tigard, Stonewall, Bluestone, Somersville, troll around. When you see a buck, shut the engine off, drift to a stop, then shoot.
Oh, good info.
There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, you could do that. By the way, considering some of the injuries sustained early this season, I'm super impressed how the coaches rallied the players together, minus Oklahoma. But you'll have that from time to time. Now let's finish off Baylor. I'll take an 8-4 all day long. I hope the media picks us last again. Hey, guys, I need a favor. I'm driving up to Morgantown to celebrate my birthday by attending the Charles Wesley Godwin concert on the 16th. Can I crash at one of your houses that night? I won't eat that much. I only snore a little bit. Thanks, Scott and Stafford. Absolutely no. No.
Yeah, no offense. That's a hard no.
Yeah, that's not even a lean. It's a no. Gentlemen, have these 19 to 24-year-olds improved over what they did last year here or wherever they played all by themselves? How about a little credit for the coaches? Working 12 to 18 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, getting the boys to become men. Irvin Morgantown.
I think that except for the Oklahoma game, Brad, they have done a remarkable job getting this team ready to play.
All of them, the whole group over there. Players, coaches, staff, all of them.
Yeah. Ciao, amici. Warning, in-game text. Kirchhoff for the SMU game. Let's go, Mountaineers. Go ahead and put that picture up. P.S. Kirchhoff made its way down to Orlando for the UCF football game for me, even though we flew from Clarksburg. Looking forward to the Oklahoma State basketball or the Ohio State basketball game in Cleveland. I'll have Hopgasm on hand pregame. Ciao, Dino in Morgantown.
How did they get that Kirchhoff?
Flew it down.
Down there.
They're starting to
flew it down?
Down in cargo. They're starting to set in cargo planes down to Florida with your beer on there. Texter, got to say it was a lot more fun to watch the Mountaineers run the legs off the other team. Exhaustion stinks. I love the grit these guys show. The first half was excellent against SMU. A sign of great things to come when we get more players. Easy group to cheer for. Let's go. Texter, 3 guys. This is Jamie in Vermont. I received a text from my daughter the other evening. It read, "Are we road tripping?" This was her response to the recent wins by the WVU and Vermont men's soccer teams. As fate will have it, WVU and UVM will meet Saturday, 3rd round NCAA. Unfortunately, a road trip isn't in the cards. However, plans are being laid for a Mountaineer sports extravaganza on the big screen. Soccer at 4 is a win either way for us, but it remains to be seen if the Mountaineers will be singing Country Roads or the Catamounts will be saying, thanks for having us. Then on to Baylor at 7. Born in Morgantown, raised a Mountaineer, live in Vermont. You can take the kid out of West Virginia, but you'll never take West Virginia out of the kid. Let's go.
Hey, speaking of road trip, yesterday, I don't know where Pitt plays this weekend. I'm assuming somewhere on the road because yesterday I saw the Pitt equipment tractor trailer, and I thought, I wonder if when you were driving that through West Virginia down I-79, you're thinking, this is a danger zone here.
There might be some people letting them know that they're number one in their hearts when they drive by them. Texter, West Virginia connection. Devin. Oh, yeah, this is Devin. She'll show this picture here. So Devin came up to me at the basketball game there. And that's literally where I was working from, Hoppy.
The parking lot?
God.
I was in the parking lot
I was in the concourse behind the basket. So Devin comes up, and he had his West Virginia connection was he went to go play golf. His Uber driver, his daughter went to WVU.
Of course.
And then the cart attendant, the cart attendant's grandmother was from Wheeling.
Yeah, why wouldn't she be?
And he told me, he said, I am really skewing your demo down. I'm 21 years of age.
Well, that does bring it down.
So that was really good.
Thanks, Devin.
Thank
you,
you, Devin.
You had a bad vantage point, Tony, for that game, I understand. And did you tell them you're not with the student radio station? Maybe you could sit courtside for the basketball event?
I don't complain as long as it's fair. As long as all the radio broadcasters are in the same part. My boy Matt LePay from Wisconsin. What?
You wouldn't want them to get an unfair advantage, couple extra points out of there? What do you care where they are?
If they get a better seat, if they were down on the floor and I was up in the air?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't.
Sometimes, what if it's the home venue?
No, they're always equal.
By the way, which one was the three-point line? The red one, the green one, the yellow one, the black one, the white one? Which one?
It was a little different there. It's just
which one? Seriously, which one was it?
The last one.
The last one?
Yeah, the last one's the one. Hello. As a WVU alum of Hoppy's Vintage, I want to tell you how much I enjoy the podcast. The sound of Hoppy's voice brings me back to my arrival at Dadisman Hall as a freshman listening to WAJR. Thank you for being the noise-canceling headset surrounding the future of Coach Brown. I get it that he's paid well and there are expectations that need to be met. He's the CEO, captain of the ship, and the pilot in command. As a pilot, I fully understand that if something goes wrong, it's the pilot in command that gets the blame regardless. That said, sooner or later, the players have to play, and they have to play every game. Too often, I think the fan base is quick to blame a coach and give the players a pass. They, too, have expectations that need to be met. If either the coaches or the players fail to meet expectations, changes must be made. All that said, the Baylor game is a must-win.
Oh.
Signed by Jeff from Ice Station Zebra, Canandaigua, New York.
You know where that is?
It's my mom's hometown.
Is it really?
It's one of the Finger Lakes. Canandaigua Lake is one of the Finger Lakes. You should look that up because I know sometimes you like to look stuff up. Canandaigua Lake is one of the most expensive places to live in the world.
Really?
Don't know exactly why, but the real estate in Canandaigua, around Canandaigua Lake, is off the grid.
Really?
Yeah, one of the highest prices. It's a wonderful place.
Higher than Cheat Lake?
Yeah.
Tiger Lake?
Tiger Lake, Cheat Lake.
Summersville?
Dolly Sods, Blackwater Falls. Listening to Neil Brown's comments about having the number 4 Russian attack in the country wasn't something he envisioned 10 years ago. He also recognizes it usually takes a deep dual threat quarterback to be successful. It's encouraging to me because he's willing to do something I don't feel like Dana wanted to do. Even though Dana sought work with Skylar Howard, Neil's adapted to a climate that just about precludes the air raid offense in November. If you look at Dana's record, September, October, really good. Neil has adjusted not just to a historic culture of running the ball, but a climate that just about demands it unless you have 4 or 5 stars at the skill. Kudos. I hope he keeps moving in that direction, Steve in Tennessee. Yeah, it's easier to run it than throw it, obviously, in the winter when it gets cold. Hey, guys, looking forward to Baylor in a bowl game. Pleasantly surprised with the team this year. Hope we continue the trend on to basketball. Any scenario in which we just play Raekwon battle and let it sort itself out later. If not, why not? We can't win the Big 12 with a shallow roster. Dang. Several people have asked this question. This is Scott in Columbus. Several people have asked basically this. Why doesn't West Virginia just thumb its nose at the NCAA and play him? Shrug your shoulders and just play him. Could you? Yeah, because really eligibility comes into play when it's a championship event, when an NCAA-sponsored event. You could do it, but West Virginia never will, won't, because it just only opens the door for you down the road that they're going to come back and get you. Because it would be,
you'd get red flagged.
You get red flagged, and they just say, because then others would see that, they do that, then all of a sudden, well, guess what? what's going to happen is exactly what is going to happen. The NCAA is about to recreate itself. So a lot of this stuff, to be quite honest, that we're talking about today, maybe in 3 years we look back on it and go like, well, what? That was no big, you can do it now. But West Virginia is not going to do that. The battle situation.
Although other schools do.
Other schools do bow up.
Or just do stuff.
As far as WVU is concerned, the Raekwon
other
battle
schools
situation.
just play players that aren't eligible or illegal.
Just do it.
Here, the other thing, though, too, you're jeopardizing battle's eligibility as well. If you, in all seriousness, if you were to do that, then he's done. Then he's not. He has no shot of playing college basketball. Games.
West Virginia's not doing that. West Virginia's used what it can with the NCAA. Now, if there's any other movement in this case, which there will be, it's going to be private. Raekwon Battle is going to have to get an attorney, and they will have to take it privately now. West Virginia's out. They've done the only two things they can do. So that's the deal there. So last show I said, or a couple shows ago I said, I'd like to know what the success rate is of teams in the Big 12 that are asked to play 2 straight road games.
Yeah.
Charlie from Midlothian, besides gaming the Kroger gas system where he gets those points and does that, he did a big, expansive study on it. And there was, to be honest with Charlie, thank you so much. I'm not that smart, so I'm trying to figure the thing out. But basically, this is what he took. Teams that have been asked to play back-to-back road games this season, their winning percentage in the second game is 43%, which I think is pretty good. Because, number one, if you're on the road, your chance of winning a road game to begin with is probably, I don't know what the percentage is. If it's 50, you can either win or lose. But statistically in the Big 12. But anyway, it's 43%.
But that's a good place to start, but that has to be opponent adjusted. I mean, that's an important caveat.
He gave you the whole thing. He had some things, lines.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he did a heck of a job. Charlie, we might have to hire you for...
By the way, I found a condo on the lake you talked about for $900.
How big is it?
1,400 square feet.
For $900,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
Going
good.
fast. Oh, I just put in a bid for you. Wait a minute.
A texter asked this question: is America ready for super pigs? Got a situation here, folks.
What?
Wild Canadian swine threatening to invade the United States. And this is reading from the story here. A difficult to eradicate population of wild hogs roaming Canada. Officials worry they're soon going to spill to the United States.
Ooh.
Population of the super pig often consists of crossbreeds that combine the survival skills of wild Eurasian boar with the size and high fertility of domestic swine, according to the Associated Press. So when these pigs come over, the super pigs from Canada, watch out. Minnesota, North Dakota, and Montana already taking measures to prevent an invasion of the super pig.
I'm going to need a boat, a rifle, and a lake.
Texter, Jeff from Lumberport. I just checked episode800.com. Still, no 3 guys hanky. Yeah, that kind of was.
I got a lot of heat about that. Like, are you still, you can't.
People talk to you about that?
Well, yeah, it was just like, what are you doing? Did you use that hanky 2 days in a row? And why you can't use a hanky because you... A lot of grief about that. So I thought for hygiene reasons, I put it away.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Given those, putting those in your washing machine?
Yeah.
Well, then that stuff floats around that's on there. It floats around with all the other clothes.
What do you think? What about your underwear?
All right.
Texter, although I don't own land in any of West Virginia's counties, when I was in the 5th grade, I could recite all 55 counties in alphabetical order for history class. Tony and Brad, do they have similar classes in your home states, or is this a unique West Virginia thing? No, there was nothing like New York State's like.
You didn't even know your county.
I know mine, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you 10. I could not tell you 10 New York State counties.
Same. I couldn't give you 5 in Iowa. I'm way better at West Virginia geography than I ever was at Iowa geography.
We are very county-centric here.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
Some places are. Question, in light of boat racing Cincinnati, why was the initial spot for the Baylor game so low, signed by Dr. Jeff in Charleston?
Brad?
6.5. That's a heavy road favorite there. It's gone. It's really taken off. I didn't look today, but it was 11 yesterday.
Yeah, 11 and a half.
That's a lot.
Probably after the
heavy road
news about the quarterback.
It jumped. Yeah, it went to 8.5, then went to 9.5, then jumped to 11 on the Blake Shapen news.
Texter, Tony, last episode, a texter asked you how come Jaheim White only had one P5 offer. I've made it well known on the show that I am from York, Pennsylvania, although I got to West Virginia as fast as I could. The truth is, here's the deal. York is not a recruiting hotbed. York is a mid-sized city with a lot of athletes, but in the last 20 years, they've only produced a backup quarterback at Penn State, a few O-linemen at Pitt and Rutger, a punter at UConn, thanks to Randy Edsall, who is from York. Jaheim's size was a deterrent, but I'm glad he's at West Virginia. In fact, I've asked my father to find his handlers in York and make sure Jaheim stays in Morgantown, signed by AJ in historic South Park. There you go. Last one. Tony, what keeps a player from lying and saying that a school A, is going to give him X number of dollars, no salary cap, and a school doesn't know if they're bargaining in good faith or not? There's nothing that stops them from doing that. There's a lot of people that go out there. That
happens.
Happens all the time. I can get X number of dollars if I go here. And, you try to do your best due diligence to figure out if that number is accurate. And then sometimes, you say, well, go get it.
Well, this gets back to schools and the trusts getting good at the principles of capitalism, and that is, how much money do I have and what is your value? Because the individual's value is what is your willingness to pay and their willingness to accept, okay? So if they say, well, George is going to pay me $1 million, you go, look, I can't pay you $1 million. I can't pay you $1.1 million. To us, your value is $100,000 or $200,000, whatever. So you have to be good at determining, based on your budget, what the value of that player is, and then that's your limit. I think a bidding war.
I think down the road, this is what happens down the road. And by the way, weekend reading, it's a holiday weekend. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, wrote a fantastic story of what is coming in the new look NCAA. And it's both interesting and scary at parts. But eventually, I think this is what happens. Schools will get together. And everyone will know. Every school knows how much every coach makes. Every school knows every number that another school's paying their coaches, their assistant coaches, their strength coach, everybody. That's all said. Eventually, we're going to get to a point, right, Brad, that schools are going to know what players are getting.
I would think.
Running backs go for this. This guy goes for this. They'll know. And that will create a market normality that does not exist right now. And there's always going to be an outlier. People will know what this is worth. Well, right now, it is just unknown. Wild West, you're just not sure because the market is finding itself right now.
But until there's a salary cap,
that might be a little forceful, a little strong.
Yeah, it'll find its level. There's no salary cap with coaches. So what happens is what you just said. Schools pay what they can pay. And if you can go get more somewhere else, then you go get more somewhere else. Same thing with players.
I'm just talking about like in the NFL or in other sports, it determines what a value of a particular position is based on a salary cap.
Yeah, but see, the NFL has a much better, more sane structuring than college sports ever will.
True.
But we're getting to that point where the big boys, the Power 5 schools, are going to leave those other schools.
Let me just make an early prediction.
Go ahead, Colin.
Much like I said from day one, this stuff would come in-house, which it will.
Yes.
You'll still complain about the governing body of the new group.
Absolutely.
There will still be a multitude. Well, I can't buy that rule. There will be a lot of complaining about the new structure. Mark that down.
I think we all always get along in college sports.
No,
you're right.
There was recently a gentleman sent us an unbelievable package of honey. I mean, Mr. Anthony Vitti. And I'm going to try to find this letter that he wrote me. But, Senator, if you would you take this honey?
Local honey, right?
Well, so I want to find okay, here it is.
Am I holding this up?
Just a small token of appreciation for what you do for all the listeners. One of my extracurriculars is that I am a beekeeper. This honey is from my bees in White Post, Virginia. I milk them twice a day. There are a dozen, one each for the three of you. Tony gets an extra jar for using it to make bread. I have had homemade bread using honey instead of sugar. It's excellent. He must bring at least one loaf to share with everyone. One to your producer. One to Neil Brown, hoping his 10 years as long as Don Nealon. One to Zach Frazier. He will never need a place to hunt during a bye week in the pros. Give me a call or drop me a note. So he's offering his land.
Got land.
For Zach to go down there and hunt. 1 to Josh Eilert for a difficult task ahead. 1 to Jordan McCabe. 1 to Chestnut Brewworks to infuse in their next creation.
Oh.
1 to Charles Wesley Godwin for his journey. 1 to anyone you deem. Let me know if you need more. Just a small token of thanks. Mr. Anthony Vitti, there in White Post, Virginia.
You know where that is? That's not far from Berryville. That's not far from me.
Oh, really?
Hometown,
So it's relatively close to the West Virginia border.
It's close to the border.
Well, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. Well, very good. Very good. All right. So, new schedule coming into play.
Oh.
We're done with our Sunday shows. For those of you that have been spending your
done
Sunday...
with regularly scheduled Sunday shows.
Excuse me?
Done with regularly scheduled Sunday shows.
What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't mean we won't have a Sunday show we have to come in and do.
But you know, if there's a Sunday...
things happen.
But that's bad.
Events.
We don't want to do those because bad things
I didn't say
happen.
we wanted to. I just said regularly scheduled Sundays are done. There may be a Sunday. You said we're done with
We have to
Sunday
react.
shows, and I'm saying you can't promise that we're done with Sunday shows.
I'll put it in... We're done with regularly scheduled Sunday shows. We're not regularly scheduling Sunday shows. We may have to have one on an emergency basis.
Well, that's
That's what I just said. Yeah,
This is what he just said.
that's what he does.
I don't know.
I knew he heard it somewhere.
Let's go to the All right. Three Guys brought to us by
Is there a
Comac.
show this Sunday?
we doing Sunday shows?
Was it
I
regular?
like the Sunday show.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
All right.
I mean, we had to because Neil moved everything to Monday. Neil's the guy that made the Sunday show.
That was Neil's fault.
Yeah, because he moved his press conference to Monday
That's true.
instead of Tuesday. That was the only reason. So we're going to record Monday. When we come back Monday, we'll have the Baylor game done. We'll have
Bellarmine basketball.
Bellarmine basketball, and we'll have one of the most important weeks for Mountaineer football of the entire season is next week, Player Retention Week. It's a dead recruiting period, and all schools across the country are going to try to keep the guys they want to keep.
Put a chain link fence around the facility building.
Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart, go for good times, go for Gomart. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, selling family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Take advantage of that unbelievable Three Guys special they have right now. And by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. Austin Wright, our producer in this 507th or 8th episode, something like that.
It's going slowly since 500.
What?
It feels like it's going slowly.
Listen, you said you wanted to be out of here by 8:45. It's 8:42. Now go do your little show. Go do your little radio program there, Hoppy.
Is it live today?
No, taped.
Don't you
live
like
today.
doing this show better? Because people, you feel love in this show. You don't feel love in that other show, and people be hating on Hoppy.
Yeah, this is like a vacation.
Stop being mean to Hoppy.
It's okay. I'm self-actualized.
Yeah. All right. We're out. See you.